what someone does in their own lives really has y'all in y'all feelings. What is up, you guys? This is Alethea coming back with another video, and by the title, you may be feeling some type of way. But before you pass judgment, watch this video in its entirety, and then let's see if your perspective or your mind changes. Because I know the title, yes. Before I get into this video, let me preface this by saying Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union and their family really has y'all feeling some type of way. Let me repeat that for the people in the back of the room, the back over there. Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union really have y'all in y'all feelings. So before I get into the topic at hand and what I want to talk about, because let's get this straight. Transgendered and homosexuality are two different things. So for those of you that don't know that, transgender and homosexuality are two different things. Let that sink in. The reason for this video, the reason I'm coming at you with this video was because of a conversation that came up due to the Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade situation with their child. And I'm going to say child. I'm not going to preface and say he, she, what have you, because that's none of my business whether or not Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union and the child's biological mother, whatever. It's none of my business what they decide to do with their child. That's their child. I will say that some people feel like this child is too young to know what's going on with this child. Some people feel like, you know, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union are just plastering this child all over the world, using them as a poster child for people that have a transgendered identity or what have you. So, but at the end of the day, here's the thing. The problem with us, the problem with a lot of people are we're too damn sensitive about everything. Or we worry about something that has nothing to do with us. And when it comes to them, that has nothing to do with you all. So all of you that are in your feelings, why? Why? So in one of my classes, and I'm not going to say my students' names for the case of anonymity, but in one of my classes is a journalism class. And we talk about a lot of things in that class. Some things that we talk about, I think, are like noteworthy to point out that, you know, these are young adults, and while some people want to shun their opinions, they do have an opinion. Sometimes their opinions I don't agree with, and in this situation, part of the conversation, I definitely did not agree with, which is kind of why I wanted to kind of discuss it, which is why in my previous video, because I'm actually going to put this video up before some other videos in the lineup, but in my previous video, P told me that I did clickbait because I did a get ready with me, and in the title I had Student Chronicles, but in the title I didn't talk about anything. So my reasoning for bringing the Student Chronicles up was to see if anybody commented and said yes, they want to hear the Student Chronicles. So it's kind of like to get some feedback. But before the conversation goes too far, because you know, you talk about something and then you wait a month or maybe 2 months to talk about it, it's kind of old and it's not very fresh. This conversation is still fresh in my head, so which is why I want to go ahead and talk about it. So with that being said, one day my students went to lunch and they came back from lunch, and when they came in, the conversation was already going. They were buzzing, they were adamant, they were like anyway, let me just say this conversation kind of involved two young men and a young lady, and then, well, kind of two young men and three young ladies, so to speak, because some people chimed in and had their say in the conversation. But I'll say this, I have this one young lady, let me give you a little background. I have one student that has an aunt that is lesbian, and she talks about this aunt. She definitely loves this aunt because she talks about this aunt, and when her aunt decided that she was going to get married, and she got married on Valentine's Day, and her aunt and I are friends on Facebook, so I saw their photos and all that kind of stuff. So they got married on Valentine's Day, right? But she talked about it and stuff, and she talks about it openly, and she doesn't care what anybody has to say, and I love that about this young lady. So anyway, when they came back from lunch, they were talking about homosexuality is taught. Once again, they were saying that homosexuality is taught. And she was like, no. So they brought in racism and was saying that, well, she brought in, I think it was her that brought in racism and was saying that racism is taught. And so usually when they have these conversations, no matter what the conversation is, they pull me in with it. They'll say something, right, Miss Latimer, such and such Miss Latimer, and they'll pull me in with the conversation. And they started to pull me in with the conversation. And me and the young lady, we were on the same page with this conversation, but these young men were not there. And then another young lady, she was saying that she doesn't care, she's not lesbian, she doesn't care, blah, 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 yada, yada. But anyway, so they were missing her point where she was saying, she said that racism, people teach people not to like people or care about people because of the color of their skin. And I was right there with her. But she said, how can you teach homosexuality? That's like saying somebody is at home telling their child, okay, you go and do this, you go do that. So, and I brought them and I posed to them. I said, so what you're telling me is, because y'all want to say now, and one student said something about social media, and they brought up Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle and all other people. And so now in 2020, in 2020, and I can say probably in 2019, 16, 15, whatever, people love to bring in social media and say that social media has it out there for people to see, for children to see, for adults to see, or whatever, and they, make it look like it's this big pretty thing, da 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 da. Not saying, I'm just saying this is what they're saying. They're saying that social media has put it out there. So I said, well, what about those people? And if you know me, you know me. If you know me, then you know how I feel about this conversation. But anyway, so I said, what about those people that were gay, lesbian, transgender, what have you, before social media was even out there? What about those people? What about those people that live their lives and that go outside and nobody knows what's going on with them, and then they go back into their home and they have to seclude in their home and be who they are inside their home? There are people that were doing this before social media came around. What about those people that know at an early age who they are, but they don't say anything until they turn 20, 30, 40 something years old? These people that when social media was not around, say for instance someone my age, these people that did not grow up with social media and knew who they were, what taught them? So were their mom and dad, and I use only a household because people love to say if the household has a man and a woman, this won't happen. So I used a household with a husband and a wife, and I asked them, I said, okay, so what about a household that has a husband, has a wife, has a man, has a woman, has what Christians, has what everybody says that you should have? What about those households? How did they teach their children to be homosexual? I said, what did they do? Did they have a conversation and sit their child down and say, look here, little Johnny, look here, little Susie Becky? This is what you're supposed to do when you go out here in the streets. You're not supposed to, you're a young lady. You're not supposed to go get a guy. You're supposed to get a girl because you're a lesbian. I'm teaching you to be lesbian. And then they look at their son and like, no, you're straight. So when you leave out here, you get a young lady as well. But because you can't get a boy, she can get a girl, but you can't get, like, come on, come on. I just, when they said that, let me say this. Let me say this right here. I understand that there are a lot of people that people say they are curious or gender fluid or whatever you say, and they say that these teenagers try things or young adults try things or what have you because they're trying to find themselves. That is something totally different from someone that knows that they are a lesbian or that they are gay or that they are transgender. And let me say this one more time. Homosexuality and transgender are two different things. But yes, I get that some people go through life and they have to figure out blah, 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 blah. However, I do not think, no. I know no one is sitting in their house telling their children that they're supposed to be homosexual. I know no one is doing that. I mean, because really, who would? So they turned around and they said, when she made the comparison between teaching racism and homosexuality, that you can't compare the two. But if you're saying one is taught, then what are you saying about the other one? Because if you're saying that homosexuality is taught, and as a black child, what is racism then? Is racism taught? Because that was her point, that racism was taught. And they was like, nah. So, you know, sometimes, and dare I say, I'm not going to say that that she knows better than them or what have you. I'm not. But sometimes when it comes to certain people, boys, girls, whatever, depending on your household, depending on whatever, the opinions will be differing. The opinions will be different. However, I really, 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 really do not like the fact, and I'll be adamant about this, I do not like the fact that these high school students that are about to get ready to go into the real world feels like someone in their house is teaching their child to be homosexual. Because they also made the statement and they said that you can't be born that way. And I said, why not? Why not? Why can't someone be born that way? Because a lot of people know at a very, 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 very early age, without even seeing it, a lot of people know at a very, very, very early age who they are. Sometimes people do what they think the masses want them to do. Case in point, homosexual young man, lesbian young lady, know who they are, know everything. You couldn't tell them no different. But because they may feel their mom or their dad or someone in their life feels like may shun them or may feel a certain way, or because they're around people that they hear talk about things in a negative way, they will suppress, maybe hold that back. But does that mean they didn't know? It will do whatever it is to make sure that they seem quote unquote normal in other people's eyes because of what normal is to someone else. But why is it that they aren't normal? Because of that situation. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here and go to work. And there's so much more that I can say about this conversation. There really is, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. Let's discuss this. Let's discuss this. So if you have an opinion, what have you, one way or the other, if your opinion is differing from mine, leave it in the comment section. I don't care. I don't mind someone's opinion being a variant from mine. We're not all going to think the same way, and I'm fine with that. But at the same time, let's not be ignorant to certain things. You know what I mean? So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I have to go to work. I have to go and earn my salary. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead, when I get home today, I'm going to put this video up so this video can go up today. And today is Friday, December. Today is Friday, February the 21st. So I am actually going to put this video up today because I want to go ahead and edit this and get this up. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in to another video. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe if you have not done that already. And until the next time and in between time, you ladies and gentlemen, be safe, and I will do what? See you in the next one. Bye.